Welcome to another episode of Mental Health Mondays. It is the week of December 12th, 2022. Halfway there, or almost to Christmas, I should say. Not halfway there. And happy holidays to everyone else, too. Oh man, holiday season. Busy as hell everywhere. It's a clusterfuck anywhere you go right now, which is like it is every year. But yeah, it's busy. That shit is stressful. It's funny because part of me is like, I miss the days where like online shopping wasn't the primary option for most things. But then you go out in the world and have to like navigate a store when it's super busy on the weekend during the holiday season. And you're like, oh yeah, this is exactly why I prefer that. But it's still fun to like actually go to the store and pick something out. I was thinking about like being a kid years ago versus being a kid now. And like if I was a kid now, I would be into the same stuff that the kids are into these days, like electronics and shit. And like every week I sound like an old man more and more. Like like iPads and gizmos and gadgets. What's a toy to a kid that has had that stuff growing up their entire life? But I also feel like it's not as fun as like getting a like little thing, like a thing to play with, a new thing that you've never even seen before, something that you've really been wanting versus like, I don't know, it's just so different. And so it's like I miss maybe having to like go to a toy store. I don't know, I never really even had to do this. Maybe when my nieces and nephews were really young, when toys were still an option. But I miss like having to go to the store and like pick out something and be like, I think this person will like this. Now it's a little different. Like my mom, God bless her heart. She asked me to send her my Amazon wish list so that she doesn't buy me junk. And my first thing is like, please don't buy me anything. You've helped me enough in my life. I am a grown-ass man. All I want to do is just spend the holidays with you and my family, and that's what it's all about. But it's also funny because it's like she frames it as Amazon wish list because it'll be convenient and stuff. But at the same time, that's literally like me writing a Christmas list to my mom, and I'm 28 years old. I might have just said 27 a second ago. I'm a 28-year-old gray-haired man. I have gray hair. Not really, not like full. I'm going to be salt and pepper at one point, which is kind of cool. I'm not ready for it, but when the day comes, I'll graciously accept it. I don't know, yeah, just I appreciate her not wanting to buy me shit, as she put it, like stuff that I wouldn't wear or use. But also it takes some of the fun out of it. It's like now, and the thing is, I'm doing the same thing, like with my girlfriend and with my family too. Like send me like a list of things on Amazon that you want. Again, it's like asking for a Christmas list from a child. But I don't want to get you something you're not going to use, you're not going to like. But it also kind of takes like the surprise and like fun out of picking out a gift that is meant for someone specifically that I thought of I thought of them when I saw it, or I thought of yeah, I don't know. Like I came up with the idea like this will mean something to this person versus like here's a bunch of other useless shit that I kind of want, and now I know that you're going to get me one of or a few of these 20 items that I picked out. That sounds like ungrateful. But I mean like for me buying gifts as well, I kind of want to like go off the beaten path a bit and be like, I thought of you when I saw this. Here's this gift. But the bottom line is that's not what the holidays are about anyway, obviously. I think we all know that by now, as much as it gets convoluted at times. Like the material stuff is literally bullshit. And no Christmas. You can't maybe like all right, when we got an N64, I remember getting a Nintendo 64. It was really for my brother. Kyle was pretty young, but I remember being super excited about that. So yeah, there's maybe one or two things in your entire lifetime of Christmas where you remember a gift. But most of the time it's like, I'll remember that year that mom fell asleep at the dinner table or something like that. Like it's the memories and it's the things that you actually that aren't tangible, like aren't objects, aren't items, but are what we keep in our heart most sacred. And I think again, it's like most people are conscious of that. There's not many people who are like gifts are fine. Everyone tries to do what they can gifts wise, but most people understand it's about like spending time together and like cherishing the moments with loved ones and stuff. But it's important to always remind ourselves of that, because it's like that is a microcosm of everyday life as well, where we get caught up on like things that don't really matter as much as the things that we kind of push aside, which are time with our family, our health, experiences. That's another good gift idea. It's like concert tickets, or I was thinking they're not going to end up seeing this before it happens. So I was thinking about like my mom would never think to go to a comedy store or a comedy club or like a comedy show, but I know she would really enjoy it. So I was looking at maybe like doing something like that. Like while I'm home for the holidays, let's go do this together. But those are the things that matter most. Those are the things we end up remembering. No one's sitting on their deathbed thinking back on like, I wish I got more stuff. No one. You're thinking about the people who are hopefully surrounding you, if you're lucky enough, at that moment, and thinking of all the times you had with them and wishing that you could experience that for infinity. Not like, I wish that I had sent my Amazon wish list that one year so I got a book that I read and then never thought about again. That's what my Amazon wish list is. It's just books. Because I don't know what to put. I'm a grown-up. First of all, anything I need or want, I will get myself. But on top of that, it's also extremely expensive because it's like studio equipment or things to like further my career. And like also, it's not like anyone who would be buying a gift for me would know much about that. So it's not like I would ever. First of all, again, I'm I'm a grown up. I'm not going to ask for something like that. But even if I did, it would have to be a very specific thing that I did the research on or that I know I need or want, not just something like, oh, I got you this, and it's like, oh, this is kind of shitty, and I wouldn't be able to use this. But I don't know. It's not what it's all about. It's about the memories, about love, about sharing time together. And again, that's a microcosm for what life is supposed to be about as well. Also, I apologize ahead of time. I'm running out of things to wear. Maybe that's what I need, is clothes. I mean, need. I don't need anything. But if there were one thing that I needed, it might be some new clothes. I'm running out of things to wear, and I picked today the loudest, puffiest jacket I own. So if you hear this at any time, I apologize. It's just me moving around because I'm on my second cup of coffee, and I'm very antsy. Yeah, man, holidays. Like I said, I keep going back and forth in my head between like, it is kind of fun to go out and get stuff, but it's also a nightmare right now, especially because I feel like we have not fully recovered from like the pandemic side of commerce and like brick and mortar stores being hurt by it, because still less workers, still like certain protocol that they're following that they adopted when the pandemic was like really in full force, like online orders, stuff like that. And that is convenient, but it also makes things a bit of a clusterfuck when you're just trying to go to the store and get something. And it's so interesting how different an experience can go based on customer service. Like the other day, I was at, I forget what store, and I was picking up something for Jay, and it was like at Ulta. Obviously, I don't know. Navigating that place is like a fucking corn maze for me because I have no idea what I'm doing in there. But it's just like you go to one window or the one little booth that's like online orders and stuff. So I'm just going there to pick it up. But they were so nice, so respectful, so helpful, so kind. No, like, I don't know. There was no attitude involved because there didn't need to be. And that like made my day, low key. Like, just for, even if it was just for the next hour, it was like, it just feels good when you have positive interactions with people, because unfortunately it seems like we tend to have so many negative interactions with people. Then you go back a week before that, dealing with the post office. Listen, I can understand that there are many jobs that people have that maybe aren't their first choice of career or job. I can understand that. I can understand maybe not being happy with your predicament in life. I can understand that. I can understand that I don't know what's going on in your everyday life, and maybe you're bringing it to work with you, and it's manifesting itself in an attitude with me, even though I'm being nothing but calm and respectful and polite. But I don't think that gives you free range to be an asshole to people for no reason. It's not my fault that any of those things are happening to you. And on the flip side, you don't know what I'm dealing with. And especially with customer service, it's like, I know this is one of 100 things you have to deal with today. And it's a very insignificant part of your day and your life. And it should be, because your job shouldn't be your whole life. This job that you probably don't really like that much should not be your whole life. It shouldn't control everything. But to me dealing with, especially if it's a customer service situation, it's the biggest thing that's going on for me at that moment. And you have to respect that. You have to realize, like, oh, this person needs help. That's what my job is, to provide them help the best I can and take it from there. But that is not what I got when calling the post office. Let me fast forward, or let me give the abridged version. Having trouble with the mail. I don't even want to get into it. It's disgusting. My mailbox is shared with the other 3 properties that are like on our little lot. It's just a 4-plex. And shout out Casey. He's one of the people. And then the other 2 people we don't know. Well, I've met one of them. Super cool. 2 like college kids. They're cool. They're like going to grad school or something, going to USC. And then the other neighbors are awful. Definitely shady shit going on. Very clear, like, drug problems and stuff. And the thing is, we don't live in a bad area. It's just these people happen to live here. And that's kind of LA as a whole right now. But anyways, that's not really important or part of the story, but kind of is. Our mail, they're very dirty, and our mailbox is right next to their apartment. And so, like, the mailman has been having trouble putting the mail in the mailbox because it's obstructed. Understood. I understand that. It's not his fault. I wouldn't want to do it either. It's like, it's disgusting over there. So I have had trouble getting my mail, and because I've had trouble getting my mail, I've had some things stolen from the mail that are very important that I need. And so I put a hold mail on my mail. I don't know if you know what that is. If you don't, it's just it's more for, like, if you're going to be out of town for a while, so that they don't just keep stuffing it in the mailbox. They hold your mail at the post office. You go pick it up. The mail hold ends. Everything returns back to normal. But I didn't know. It's not like I have a tracking number for this specific thing that I need that's coming in the mail. So I went to pick up my mail for the mail hold at the post office. Wasn't there. And, excuse me, lost my train of thought. The thing I needed wasn't there, but the woman who I was dealing with at the post office let me know, like, hey, since you came and picked up your mail hold's going to end now. And I was like, oh, well, my mail is getting stolen and shit. That's why I put it on in the first place. She's like, okay, well, I'm not supposed to do this, but I'll put a note, let them know, hey, keep holding the mail. No big deal. Okay, I was frustrated, went home. A day or 2 later, I called the post office to say, hey, just want to know what's going on. If I have, do I have any mail? I went there the other day, and immediately the woman gave me an attitude. That's not how it works. What supervisor did you talk to? And I was like, I didn't talk to a supervisor. I just talked to the lady in front of me that was working there. I didn't get her name, you know. She was so awful to me. And again, I was trying to keep my composure. I was nothing but polite. She's like, we don't even serve your address. And I'm like, yes, you do. She didn't like that I corrected her, even though I did it politely, and she was wrong. And so, I don't know. On and on it went. She ended up, like, hanging up on me very abruptly while I was asking her another question. Because of all this, my mail got stolen again because they brought it the next day. And then the next day, the mail hold went back on. It's been a clusterfuck. It's a ridiculous situation. But it's just an example of that woman doesn't know what I'm going through. I understand for her, she doesn't really care. It's not that big of a deal to her. It doesn't impact her life. But your only job at that moment while you're at work is to deal with people on the phone, like me, who are having trouble. And I understand if I was like a dickhead customer that was like giving her an attitude and giving her shit the whole time, to be like, whoa, don't talk to me like that, and be rude back. I get it, we're humans. But the thing is, I wasn't doing that. I wasn't blaming anything on her. I wasn't blaming anything on them. I was just explaining the situation very respectfully and asking a question. And I did not deserve the reaction I got. But I don't know what she's dealing with in her life. On the flip side, she doesn't know what I'm dealing with in my life. It's been an incredibly stressful few months with everything going on here that I've talked about on the podcast before. And it's like, again, this is a huge deal to me. I need this to work out. I need this to be okay. And I need your help to make sure that it continues to be okay, or that it starts to be okay. And you didn't want to give it to me. listen, the old me would be like, fuck you, would have been giving her an attitude on the phone, would have wished bad things upon her. The more evolved version of me wishes her the best. I hope she has a great holiday season. And I hope in a quiet moment, maybe she reflects on, like, not that moment, because I'm sure that was one of a dozen moments she had in the last however long of her working this job, of dealing with people rudely. But maybe in a quiet moment realize, life's short. I don't need to be rude to people for no reason. Whatever. I don't know what she's going through. And if she's going through something and that's the reason why, I hope it gets resolved. But it's just so crazy, the difference between, even when I went to the post office, the person was very nice and respectful. And and in that time, I was actually acting annoyed and not being rude, but being a little bit frustrated, visibly. And still, the person was very nice, very polite, tried to do what she could for me. Talked to the mailman the other day, caught my mailman walking at night, and I was like, hey, I kind of startled him. It was like dark, because of course it's getting darker early now. And I explained to him the situation. He was super nice, super kind. Didn't expect him to remember my name or my address, but then the next day he saw me and stopped me and was like, hey, I'm trying to fix it, whatever. Very polite. Again, pleasant interaction that helped me propel my day forward. And hopefully pass on the kindness. It's like those old infomercials or whatever they were, public service PSAs. I forget exactly. It was like a non-for-profit group that used to do it. It was like, kindness, pass it on. Cheesy, yes, but true. It's real. A smile goes a long way. Being polite with someone goes a long way. Again, you don't know what someone else is dealing with in their life. But also, on the flip side, they don't know what you're dealing with. And all right, let me rephrase that. Sorry. You don't know what someone else is going through in their life. So the one chance you have to interact with them, why wouldn't you want it to be positive? You only get so many interactions in your lifetime as it is. So you being a dickhead to someone else is also just making the experience negative for you. I understand there are times you don't want to get walked on, you don't want to get taken advantage of, and you might have to be stern. You might have to be, what's that word Plankton used with SpongeBob? Assertive. That's fine. Much different than being an asshole to someone for no reason. And it's like my mom always used to say, first impressions are everything. Like, that really does set you up with this. In the perception this person has of you forever will always be impacted by your first impression. And it's possible to, like, smooth over a bad first impression, for sure. But if your first impression is the only impression on this person that you'll ever have, probably the only time you'll ever talk to this person, why wouldn't you try to make it as positive as possible? I remember, shout out Hunter Lyon, who used to direct all our old music videos. He's doing his thing. He's killing it with film and all that, directing, cinematography. He once brought that point up to me. People act like it's cool to be like, I don't give a fuck what anyone cares about me. Cool. Well, I do. I want people to think of me positively. And, like, I don't think that's a bad thing. I could see a little bit of, like, if I'm putting my best foot forward and I'm being the best version of me that I can at all times, I don't care what the result is on the other end. I can only control myself. That I agree with. But just being like, I don't care what other people think about me and I'm so real and I'm so, like, no, you're an asshole. You're not real. You're just a dick. And I just think, again, we have one chance in life to interact with people. Don't you want it to be a good thing? Don't you want them to walk away like, oh, that was a nice guy, or like, that was a nice gal that I just dealt with. It's very easy. It's not that hard to not be rude. And that's the thing. People don't want to put any extra effort, even if it's a 1.000001% effort into being a nice person. People don't want to do it. It's not worth their time for some reason. So my message to you is, if you're listening to this, you take the initiative to always do the right thing and be kind. And you know what? It might feel like you're getting the shit out of the stick a lot of times, but at night you can go to bed being like, I'm a good person. I know I'm a good person. I know that I always try to be a good person to everyone I come in contact with. And that's all you can really do. And again, I don't know what those people are dealing with in their lives that they're having such a negative interaction with me for no reason. But they don't know what I'm dealing with. And I'm dealing with a lot of shit too. And I'm still doing everything I can to be polite and be kind. I think a big impact on me was my dad, because I lost him when I was 15. And when he's from like a small town outside of New York City, and everywhere we went when he was still alive, everywhere we went, we'd meet someone that was like, oh, you, like, that he barely knew, but they remembered him because of how good of a person he was to them. And then after he passed, I've gotten nothing but like messages on Facebook or whatever it might be from older people of his generation, of his like high school class, being like, your father was the best person I knew, or like he's one of the good ones, you know, like he was just one of the greatest people you would ever want to meet or have a drink with or just run into at the store, talk to you for a few minutes. That made a huge impact on me because my dad he never really talked about that specifically to me, and maybe he didn't realize he was doing that while he was here. But his legacy that he's left behind is he was a good guy. And everyone who came in contact with him, mostly, obviously, not everyone's for everyone, most everyone that he came in contact with had a positive interaction with him and liked him and knew he was a good man. And if that's all you can leave behind, you know, maybe things don't work out for you, you don't achieve your ultimate goals, but that's one thing you definitely can control, is just being a kind, good person. So I implore you to do that, and I'm trying to do that as best as I can and follow my dad's footsteps in that way. It's just, again, it's not that hard to be a good person. It's not. It requires very minimal extra effort to be a good guy or a good woman, good person, good human. And it frustrates me because, again, I try to do everything I can to be polite, be a good person in every situation. No one's perfect. You're going to have your moments where you'd like that one back and be like the time I told that guy to choke on a sandwich. But it still affects you when you get the shit end of the stick. It does. It affects me. And for me, I'll take that and make it into this way bigger thing of like, this is just how people are. The world is like such a bitter, mean place. And it's not necessarily. It's a pretty even mix of good and evil and, you know, light and dark. But think about that you could be having that impact on someone just by being kind of shitty to them for the short period of time that you're interacting with them. That now they're like, I hate all people. How many people? It's like not even like a cool like grungy hipster thing to say, like, I hate people. That's normal now. Everyone feels that way. Everyone's like, oh God, I hate people when they see like a dumb video of someone being an asshole online or like interacting with someone and then going on a Facebook rant about it and be like, I hate people. That sucks. That's whack. It shouldn't be that way. We should love people. Because a lot of them are amazing. A lot of them do amazing things to help other people. A lot of them are really shitty. But I don't think it's really swayed one way or the other. It's pretty even. But you can do your part by making sure that most of your interactions with people are positive and polite and kind. And then if you do that, and then another person does that, and then another person does that, it becomes there's exponential growth in the amount of positive interactions we're having with other people. I don't know, man. You know, say, I don't know. That's just the way of the world. That's the way it's always been, and that's the way it's always going to be. That's fine, but I don't know. I feel like we could do a little more as far as being better to each other. It's stressful. Life is stressful. Things get hard, but it's all good. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. I need a little break. That was a lot. That took a lot out of me. You see my cool new mug? It's a Christmas mug. It says, "Oh snap!" It's a gingerbread cookie, like about to get broken. Oh snap! I wish his leg was broken in it, because then the joke would make more sense. Like he got snapped. There's crumbs on the mug. I don't know. This would be a perfect place for an ad if I had ads. Could insert it into that little silence of me taking a sip of coffee like an asshole. Jets lost today. Whatever. It's fine. I didn't expect anything from them this year. Everything has been positive, pretty much. Don't care. Aaron Judge is back. Again, this is not a sports show. This is a mental health thing, but that helped my mental health. What a doozy of a 24 hours that was. Thought he was going to San Francisco. Back in pinstripes. Sorry, Giants fans. Yeah, man. It's all going to be okay. the holiday season. It's funny because it brings out so much good and so much bad in people. Again, the stress of like trying to get things to go the way you want them and like thinking that you can control things at all. And then you run into someone who might be on their own path of thinking they can control their outcome this holiday season. And then those two forces meet and it becomes an argument or a fight or just bitterness between people when it's literally supposed to be the most cheery time, the most like love each other, love life, love itself, and just to cherish the time you have and stuff. It's funny how both are true in a time like this where you get the best and worst out of people. But you can do your best to be your best. And that'll help. That's my favorite lyric of any Christmas song. It's going to take a dark turn. Sorry. In Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, I believe it's the Bing Crosby version. It says, through the years we all will be together if the fates allow. Wow, that's a beautiful lyric. Through the years we all will be together. Your family, your loved ones, be together all the time, every year. If the fates allow, meaning if that's the hand we get dealt, and if we're lucky enough and blessed enough that that's the outcome. And it just makes me think of the people that are not here. Each year it changes. Each year the group of people that you are surrounding yourself with around the holidays, or at least every few years, it changes slightly, ever so slightly, whether it be friends, family, loved ones, significant others. And, like, it's a very melancholy feeling because, like, okay, you have the people you have and you love those people and cherish the time you have with them, but it's impossible not to think of the people that aren't in your life anymore, whether it be from just life itself, just taking a certain course you didn't expect, or actually losing these people. It's tough. The holiday season can be really tough for people who are experiencing loss or have experienced loss. My dad always tried to make Christmas such a special thing for me, especially because my parents weren't together. So, like, I don't know if he was, like, competing with my mom or something, but he always tried to, like, spoil me on Christmas. And I know he didn't have a lot of money. He worked a shitty manual labor, hard job to get by. But he always tried to make Christmas so special for me. But not just with, like, buying gifts, like, always it was a big deal to be together. Always like a nice meal involved, hanging out with my nanny and poppy, my grandparents, watching the Christmas movies, doing all that stuff. And even he plowed snow. So a lot of years he'd have to leave on Christmas Eve and stuff, plow snow, whatever. But he always tried to make it so special for me. And I feel like I'd be doing a disservice to him to not think about him around the holiday season and get a little sad about it. And that makes me think of grief as a whole. I feel like one of the things I've run into in my process of like grieving losing my dad is that there are times when I'm not thinking about him or I'm doing okay in life, and then I'll start thinking about him and I almost feel a sense of guilt that I haven't been more distraught or sad about it. And that's, I think, a very natural feeling that a lot of people who have experienced great loss go through. You almost feel like the easiest way to honor their legacy is to be sad about it. Even though like everyone says, like they would want you to move on with your life and be happy and all that stuff, it still feels like, at least for me, like almost the most I can feel about it when I really think about it and want to like be present with my dad's memory is sadness. And you almost feel a sense of guilt when you haven't done that in a while, or if you're not always sad. And that's not good. You got to break out of that. But it's very normal and natural to feel that way when you're processing a loss. Especially early on, it's now been over 10 years since I lost my dad, but especially early on, I felt that way, where I'd go a few weeks without like being like cripplingly depressed about it, and I would feel a sense of guilt, like I wasn't honoring my dad, or like I wasn't as sad as I should be. And it's not that I wasn't sad. I was. But it's like if it wasn't controlling every thought and emotion I had, I felt a sense of guilt over it, which is not good. It's not good. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to struggle with that this holiday season. The best advice I could give to you on that front would be take the time to remember them. Take the time to be sad. But then quickly remind yourself you got to pivot from sadness to that melancholy, happy feeling of, I wish you were here, but you're not, and I'll always remember you, and I'll always love you, and I know you're here in spirit, whatever helps you out in that way. Because the truth is, as cliche as it is, they wouldn't want you to be miserable all the time about them. I mean, no one wants to be forgotten completely, and no one's telling you to do that when you're grieving someone, but you do have to take care of yourself at some point, and it doesn't mean forgetting about it and shoving it aside. It means adjusting your grief from something fully negative to something with some positive in it. Whether that be, I know I'm going to see them again, or they would have loved this. And it doesn't turn into, they would have loved this. It turns into, oh, they would have loved this. I really miss him. He was great. He was the best. Whatever it is in that way. But that would be the best advice I think I could give as far as if you're going through recent grief, especially in this holiday season. Or, I mean, it's so sad. A lot of people have lost people around the holidays. So not only are you missing this big part of your life during the holiday season, but it's also, it's every time the holiday season comes, it's not just, oh, it's Christmas, oh, it's Hanukkah, whatever. It's, oh, it's also been 2 years since so-and-so left us. And that can be really difficult. I know I have some people close to me that have lost people right around Christmas Eve. And that sucks because that will always stain it for the rest of the time. But again, there is a point where you have to do things to honor that person in a positive way and not feel any sort of guilt about having happiness in your life or about having fun surrounding specifically the memory of that person. We can't be miserable forever. We cannot. And sometimes, again, there's a sense of guilt when we're not miserable anymore. But you got to realize that's kind of just like the dark shadow that follows you that always wants you to be depressed. That's just a tool for them to keep you from moving forward in your life and being happy and being content. So this holiday season, I hope that all your family and loved ones are happy and healthy. And through the years, we all will be together if the fates allow. You can't control everything. You especially can't control how long people will be in your life. You can do everything you can to be a good person to them, just like I was talking about, whether it be your parents or your siblings or someone you meet at Best Buy when you're shopping. You can always do your part to be a good person, but as far as the length of time you'll be able to be with that person, or, there's only so many things you can control. So acceptance is huge in processing grief and just in general in living a less anxiety-ridden, less depression-ridden life. Just accept what you can and can't change. Change the things you can, and pray for serenity to know the difference between the two. Or no, I fucked that up. The wisdom to know the difference between the two. It's the AA prayer. I miss going to AA with my beautiful, sober mom. Shit was enlightening, always. You hear people's stories and like, whoa, I thought I had it bad. And I know that sounds fucked up. I don't mean to make light of their situation. But it's always sobering to hear, like, oh yeah, it snaps you back into place of, oh yeah, I'm not suffering the absolute most of anyone on this planet, even though it feels that way sometimes. And again, that does not diminish the things that you are going through, but it does put them into perspective. It could be a lot worse. It could always be a lot worse. Even me with this whole fucking, oh, this person was rude to me. Obviously, I'm not letting it fuck me up too bad. It just sucks. It's annoying more than anything. It frustrates me that people choose to be that way. And I have to just remember that not everyone has, like, the tools in their brain to even recognize that they're being bad, being a bad boy. No, to even recognize that they're being shitty people to other people. I think a lot of it, too, is accountability. People kind of put all of their problems to the universe and play victimize themselves to a point where now they feel free to act any way they want towards other people because it's like, well, it's not my fault that my life sucks right now, so fuck you too. That's not how it should be. We have to be self-aware. We have to accept responsibility. Kind of always play devil's advocate a bit with like, oh, maybe I was wrong then. Even if you don't really feel that way, you have to recognize that there are two sides to every story, three sides to every story. Your side, their side, and the right side. And that third side, can't really ever figure out because the other two sides still are there. So I feel like I was just speaking in riddles. My bad. Been watching too much Harry Potter. We're on the last one. God, it's so good. Every year, I rewatch it every year. And it's funny because I was thinking while watching, I think it was either Order of the Phoenix or Half-Blood Prince, when shit starts to really turn up and get real. I was thinking like, I felt myself enjoying it so much in the moment while watching it, and I was thinking like, dude, I've seen this movie 40 times, and still every single time I'm like, this is the fucking coolest shit ever. This is the best. And then like that's what makes me. It's like, I don't know. There's a lot of newer like documentary shows, movies that I haven't watched yet that I want to watch. Like and eventually I probably will, but then it's like, oh, I don't have time to watch it because I'm busy. But then I end up watching the same movie for the 100th time. It's like, yeah, but I know it's like tried and true. I know I'm going to enjoy it. But it's also a testament to how good that movie is. Like obviously fantasy, Harry Potter, magic, that might not be your thing. But like they're excellently made films, and this whether not just special effects, but like the acting, the writing, the storyline, the story arcs of different characters, all the stuff that goes into it, like the mythology that the author J.K. Rowling built around this universe that she created while she was homeless, crazy. It's just so impressive, and like to the point where I could watch it 1,000 times and still enjoy it. And that's just a testament to how good it is. It's the best. Where are we at here? 37 minutes. Another sip of coffee is needed. Dead air is not good. If I was in like radio broadcasting school, I'd get yelled at. It's not good. Whatever. I think I'm going to do an episode with my family when I'm home for the holidays. Also, home is a loose term. Home is where the heart is. Not where you're from necessarily, but it has a wrinkle into it because my mom moved from New York. So it doesn't feel as much like home when I go there. And that if any of my family's watching, I'm not being an asshole. I love your new home, and I love the life you guys are creating for yourselves down there in Georgia. But it's obviously not the same for me because I didn't grow up in that house. I miss going home and being like in my childhood bedroom for the week, and like you really feel like a kid again because you don't see your family often. They wait on you hand and foot, all that stuff. The mom's cooking, all that shit, and I still get that when I go to visit them in Georgia, but it's obviously not the same. And like it's not like also I don't have a car, but I wouldn't go anywhere anyway because it's not my. It's not like, oh, I'm going to go to Charlie's. If you're watching this, you don't know what I'm talking about. Just like a local restaurant that I miss because I don't no longer live in New York. You know, little things like that. Like I'm going to go to this place I used to go to all the time. Like that part of going home has been eliminated forever for me, and that part I miss for sure. But again, home is where the heart is. So visiting, a few of the people that I love the most in this world. I say a few because it's not everyone. There's a couple others that are up there that won't be there. That's most important, but the other stuff is pretty nice. I miss that a little bit. So it'll still be great to go home and see them. But yeah, I might do an episode. My whole family's been through a lot. I've had quite the journey to where we are right now. I would love to get my niece on an episode. She is in 7th grade. Or 8th grade, and I'm a bad uncle for not knowing which one. I think 7th. There's no fucking way she's in 8th grade already. It's got to be 7th. But she's like wise beyond her years, and she's so insightful for her age. And she's such a talented poet and artist and just a genius level kid. And something I cherish is that, I was really a big I got to be very present while she was growing up, from the age of 0 to 6, 7, 8. And as much as obviously she's my little baby niece, she's like the light of my life. I also had the pleasure of like watching her. I don't know how to explain it. Like watching her mind expand and be able to grasp things that most kids her age couldn't. But that also allowed me to have these like very insightful, like whimsical, spiritual conversations with her from a very young age. And now every year when I go there, I try to make sure I set some time aside to continue that, and in hopes that it just makes her a thinker, because she already is. I'm not taking any credit. She's got the best mom in the world, the best grandmother in the world, but I do say that I had some part in that aspect of things, and I like cherish that. So I think she would do really good at this. We'll have to see logistically if it's possible. But also my sister, same thing. Been through fucking everything you can think of. She's funny as hell. She would be really good at this too. My mom has been through literally everything. She's funny, but also like in an ironic, like she's a mom way. But she hits me with gems every time I'm on the phone with her. So I'd love to share with some of that with the world. And so I'm gonna try my best. See, I mean, it's like it's vacation. It's the holidays. It's not about making content or anything like that. But at the same time, it would be good content. And also, I think they'd enjoy it more than they realize. And it's fun. I mean, we're going to sit down and have deep, insightful family conversations anyway. So to let other people in on it, I think would be entertaining and interesting. And would give something, offer something to anyone who's interested in hearing it. So I'm going to try my best to see if I can make that happen. We'll see. I'm not there for very long. I don't want to like waste everyone's whole day of being with my family by like setting up lighting and shit. We'll see though. I think it'll be fun. I'm excited to go home. Sucks. Me and Jay won't be together for the holidays. That really blows. That's gonna be weird. It's gonna be the most time we spend apart in a very long time. But I guess I'm sure she needs a break from me as much as she wouldn't admit that. I'm sure she needs a little time off from me. And as far as everything goes with her, we're still looking for answers. Every doctor leads to another doctor. It sucks, but also it's like, as much as it blows that we're not getting the answers we want as soon as we want them, every time we go, it's a little closer to figuring out exactly what's ailing her. So for anyone who's been keeping up with the podcast and keeping up with that part of things, we're getting there. We will get there. But so I guess this week is really, it's about, dude, be a good person. It's not that hard. It's really not. Oh, it's not that hard to be a good person. You can do it too. I try my best. Again, you're not perfect. No one's perfect. You also have to give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you caught them on a bad day. You don't know what they're going through, sure. But with that said, they don't know what you're going through. So again, it's like so all these cliches. As you get older, you realize why people have been saying it for years. Treat others how you'd want to be treated, dude. It's as simple as that. It's not hard to be kind. It's not hard to be a good person. Help when you can. Put your fucking shopping carts back, by the way. I go out of my way now, like, if I'm parked super far or something, like, I get that, like, I get it. You don't want to have to walk all the way back. Some parking lots, too, have, like, they only have, like, 1 or 2 shopping cart corrals. It fucking sucks. I'm sorry. It's, like, the ultimate test, this, like, sociological experiment. It's not hard to put your cart back, dude. It's so annoying. It's just, like, to me, again, this is my brain, like, taking something small and making it this huge thing. But it's just so disrespectful. It's like, I don't give a fuck. I'll be lazy. You can deal with it. You can deal with my problem. It's annoying. Put your shopping cart back. Be a good person. Everyone's busy. Everyone's trying to make things happen a certain way this holiday season. If you work in customer service, remember that. You know, something that's a real small issue to you might be the biggest problem this person is dealing with in their life at that time. And wouldn't it be a good feeling to be able to help them, or at least be respectful on the way to telling them you can't help them? So be a good person. And if people aren't good to you, just remember you can't control anything, really. You can only control your reactions and your actions to what other people are doing around you. So try your best to be kind. Put away your shopping carts. Enjoy the time you can with your family. Through the years, we all will be together if the fates allow. And sometimes the fates don't allow. So cherish the time you do have. I got to remember I got this. You got to remember you got this. And if not, we got this. Got each other's backs. Thank you for listening to another episode. And more music coming soon, too. That's another thing, really quick, before I go. So stupid. Before I go, I've been slacking a bit because life gets in the way sometimes. Hope to pick it up this coming week before the holidays. And then we'll all be kind of in our own worlds for the holidays. That's fine. But starting in the new year, I'm going to be releasing a lot more music a lot more often. I'm going to fucking push hard as fuck. That sounded so stupid. Yeah, I'm going to push real hard. I got some stuff in the vault right now that's pretty close to being ready to be heard by other human beings. And with that said, you hopefully will hear it very soon. So thank you again for all the support. And I got this, you got this, we got this. Peace out. Enjoy the holidays. Peace out. Enjoy the holidays.